Alright everyone, welcome back into another NBA DFS video. Going to be breaking down the pretty big Friday slate that we have. Let's go ahead and get into it. So it starts here with the Atlanta Hawks versus Indiana Pacers game. So the Hawks are going to be without Trae Young, guys. So that instantly kind of elevates, basically everyone else here for the Hawks. So Jalen Johnson's definitely going to be a very interesting play for us on the slate. He's someone that I think we could be looking at to score 40 plus DFS points. Porzingis ended up going off in his last game as well. Only played 25 minutes in that game. Got 6 personal fouls, though. You would expect him to get a little bit more run with Trae Young out, but the usage is going to be up for him. He's someone that is risk-reward as price, but overall don't mind it. This is a game where you could potentially do a little bit of a game stack as well. And then we look at Onyeka Okongwu here as well, guys. He is someone that we kind of need him to get a double-double, but he's been playing pretty darn well really this whole season. This ends up being a matchup where we could end up attacking it because we are getting this soft pricing. The pricing really did not adjust for Trae Young being out, I think. Alexander Walker becomes kind of one of my favorite plays. Ended up with 32 minutes in that game. Ended up with 17 shot attempts, the second most shot attempts of the season, again with Trae Young out. And we know that the Pacers are pretty banged up. This ends up being a spot that I think I want to get to a decent amount. Now, it probably is priced up a little too much, just relatively speaking, but overall not a bad play. That is worth calling out. Luke Kennard finally got some shot attempts up, kind of. He was just hot, 8 shot attempts, 5 threes. This is a performance that I just want it to be something that he builds upon, because it's just shocking that he hasn't gotten a game with double-digit shot attempts or even like 7 3 balls in a game. It's just kind of crazy. And then for the Pacers, yes, we know they are extremely banged up, guys. So Siakam's kind of been a stud over basically this whole year, 3 out of the 4 games thus far. He is starting to get to a price tag where we have to think about him as a play a little bit, probably too risky for us to really get in on him as like an elite play, but he's going to be a GPP flyer. Another kind of GPP flyer player that's going to be pretty low owned is Aaron Naismith, who in the last game, guys, 2 for 16, 1 for 9 from 3-ball range. This is kind of a box score that I don't mind chasing, in the sense that just flip this around. He had a cold night shooting. He could easily bounce back in the next game and have a very good night shooting. And then we're looking at a player who ended up playing 37 minutes, who could end up putting, let's just even say 18 points. And then we're looking at a very good GPP flyer in a very decent spot here against the Atlanta Hawks. So not a terrible thought process there. And we also have Jarace Walker, who ended up going off in the last game. He did see an increase in minutes as well. That's what we wanted to see, was the increase in minutes. Those were there, so he's going to be a GPP play for us. And then Ray J. Dennis, you could argue he's probably still a little bit too cheap for a player that's going to get 30 plus minutes in this game, most likely, for a player that's going to get double-digit shot attempts up, and for a player that's going to shoot multiple 3 balls. Not a terrible option there. And so a lot of pretty good plays in that game overall. That'll be a game that I do have probably one build of a stack there, just targeting the game just in case it goes into OT or something like that, because of the soft pricing that we're getting. Let's jump now into the Sixers versus the Celtics, guys. So looking at the game total, nothing too crazy there. It is projected to be a close game. I kind of think all the plays in this game are basically correct, especially for the Boston Celtics. Like, we're really not getting that many great values. Sure, in GPPs, Derek White or Jaylen Brown are going to be intriguing, but overall not plays that we need to get to. And then going ahead and into the Sixers, guys, we did see Joel Embiid play a little bit more minutes in his last game. 23 minutes, did end up going off in 23 minutes. I just think he's too priced up for us to truly trust him as a play. We would need him to get like confirmed 30 minutes as price tag to really consider him. And then looking at the rest of the Sixers players as well, it does in a weird way feel like a guessing game in regards to which player is going to exceed their price tag. Maxey Edgecombe could go off at any point, Quentin Grimes as well. And then you also have Kelly Oubre Jr., who could get hot shooting the basketball. To me, they're all just like players you can get to, but not players we're directly going out of our way to get to. Let me go ahead and get into a game that I think I'm going to be attacking a decent amount here, guys. So let's start with, we got Cleveland versus Toronto. Let's go ahead and start with Cleveland. So Evan Mobley, probably priced correctly here on the slate. We would need him to get multiple blocks and steals really for him to exceed value, but this is a matchup that I don't mind. I do think he's going to be able to get a double-double. But the real good play on the slate is going to be DeAndre Hunter here, guys. He should be able to get to 30 minutes. We'll wait and see what the projections end up saying in the morning or throughout the afternoon. I am recording this video the night before. It will be posted in the morning. But Hunter, as we can see, is someone that's close to a 5x value. We see he's projected to get 17.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists. If he ends up doing that, he ends up being someone that we could look at as kind of a shoulder shrug play at as price tag. But he's someone that I've been getting to a decent amount. Tyson's a little bit interesting as well as a flyer play. Ended up getting 11 shot attempts in the last game. It is worth calling out, guys. Sam Merrill is going to be out in this game as well, which should shift some minutes to Tyson. But Lonzo Ball is kind of someone I think at 4K, he should be able to 5x. Now, the projection data has him at closer to 4.7x. Okay, they have him at 8.5 points, 3.5 minutes, 4.5 assists. Okay, we'll take that though. And maybe he gets an additional minute or two here or there. We do see he's averaging over 22 minutes per game, and he is someone that it wouldn't be shocking again see go for 20 or so DFS points. We'll probably get better values as the day progresses, but as I'm recording this video, not terrible value. Let's go ahead and jump into Toronto. So Toronto kind of seems all too cheap here, guys, and that's going to be the case this whole season, I feel like, honestly. The issue is you never know exactly which 2 or 3 of the players are going to go off. You just know that they could go off. So Scotty Barnes in the last game, guys, almost 50 DFS points in that game. He went off. Brandon Ingram went for 42 DFS points. He feels like just a safe and reliable play, assuming that the game does not end up being a blowout. He's a player that I like getting into a decent amount. RJ Barrett, a little bit shot dependent here, guys. He needs to hit his shots to truly hit value, but he's probably priced up a little bit too much, but also not terrible. And then Emmanuel Quickly, he's someone that's been pretty darn reliable as well thus far this season. Worth calling out that Colin Murray Bowles, guys, could end up being a decent value for us here as well. Over the last 2 games, 25 and 24 minutes, and been productive in those games as well. So he's someone that is casually catching my eye there. And then I do want to call out Sandro as well. He ended up playing less minutes in the previous game than I thought he would, with Jakob Poeltl out. Only 16 minutes in that game, which, again, to me was shocking. Now, what I find interesting is that when we look at all the projections currently right now, again, the night before, no one's really popping up too much. Again, I think that's kind of wrong. And so let's go ahead and jump now into the Knicks versus the Bulls, guys. This game, kind of a standard game, 234.5 total points. The spread is in favor of the Knicks, 4.5 points. Towns is currently looking like he's probable. Mitchell Robinson could end up playing as well. Not a terrible matchup for Towns if he ends up going in this game as he's expected to. I wouldn't be surprised to see him have one of those more ceiling games for him, but that's obviously what we need to be chasing there. Jalen Brunson, been pretty darn consistent thus far this year. The opening night, 35 points, obviously not enough there, but since then, pretty reliable. And again, with a good matchup against the Bulls, I don't mind potentially targeting him. But that's really it for the Knicks. I don't feel like we have to force anything in there with them. For Chicago, Vucevic has really went off all but one game thus far this year. If Mitchell Robinson returns, I don't think that really changes much. Like, Vucevic is going to be someone you can look to a little bit, but not someone you need to go crazy with. Trey Jones ended up finally having a bad game in his last game after going off. Didn't really shoot the basketball all that much. It was kind of a strange one, actually, because minutes were there. The shot attempts just weren't there, and the peripherals weren't exactly there as well. So we'll see if that ends up being an outlier game. And we go ahead now and get into the Lakers versus the Grizzlies, guys. So both teams are pretty darn banged up. Now, what we need to pay attention to is Luka Doncic. If he is going to be back in this game, it's currently questionable, then Austin Reeves' price tag is too high. If Luka Doncic is out, and that's honestly not being completely fair to Austin Reeves. It's probably properly priced, I should say. He is someone that, if you look at the games last year, what he's doing last year with Anthony Davis and LeBron James off the court, he is doing what you would have expected him to do based off of those stats last year. And so if we get news that Luka's out, then Austin Reeves just becomes like an easy click. If Luka Doncic is active, he's actually a very appealing play as well, guys. And again, what Luka was doing with LeBron off the court, it was definitely more than what he was doing last year, but not too much more. He was averaging like 60 fantasy points per game with him off the court. So maybe we look for a stack there. We don't have a line for this game just yet, so we don't really know how to gauge it in terms of blowout potential or risk at all. It's probably due to Luka. And then like Hachimura becomes a tougher click if Luka's active. Vanderbilt, they're kind of all plays that for now I don't think we need to get to too much. That could change though again. Memphis guys, John Morant, very much hit or miss play, someone you could use in a potential game stack. I don't really see much here for Memphis. I think it's more of a passing up opportunity here as a whole. So we'll jump on into another game that I actually really like a decent amount. We got the Utah Jazz versus the Phoenix Suns. Okay, guys, so we do have Jalen Green still confirmed out in this game, and also Dylan Brooks is going to be out in this game, which gets us to probably the best value on the slate as I'm recording this video, which is going to be Colin Gillespie here, guys. He is someone that had went off in the last game, projected to get 12.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 1.5 steals. So overall, about 28 DFS points there, almost projected to get 6x here at a not a egregious price tag, 4.8. Okay, guys, and yeah, so he's been someone that when he's gotten the minutes has been productive. So 31 minutes, end up with 36 DFS points, 32 minutes, 48 DFS points, 28 minutes, 30 DFS points. Like, he has been an over point per minute producer this year. And with Dylan Brooks out, I think we can accurately expect him to get over at least 25 minutes. And if he ends up doing that, he ends up being a pretty appealing play. Grayson Allen, I don't mind, but Devin Booker is someone that's actually popping up as someone that should be able to go for 5x as well, or close to 5x, I should say. We see his projections, 4.99x. So not terrible there, but also someone that we don't necessarily need to get to is what the data is telling us. We'll go ahead here and then jump into Utah. Utah, we are gaining some value for as well. Okay, this team is a fun team to attack though overall, in like stacking them together. Keontae George, Lauri Markkanen, and Walker Kessler. We can kind of all pair them up together. You do have a little bit of the Yusuf Nurkic revenge game going against the Phoenix Suns as well. I'm buying into that. I think that ends up being a good spot. And for what it's worth, guys, in regards to like revenge games, I actually like it when the player goes back to the place rather than when they're just playing their old team. Yusuf has been someone that has been, 5xing. Let's say he still gets the same minutes that he's getting. Maybe attack, a few more DFS points. Like, he just went for 28. Maybe we could get that out of him. He did that against Phoenix there as well. And again, he's going back to them now. So that's pretty encouraging to me. I think he ends up being a fun value on the slate. But we also have Walker Kessler, guys. Walker Kessler is someone that in that game against Phoenix went for 50 DFS points. Really only one game where he busted. And I'm willing to take that risk at a cheap price tag. If we can get the upside for 50 DFS points at less than 7K, that is crazy. And then Lauri Markkanen as well. He's getting priced up here, but one bad game the opening night, which was a blowout. And if you give him a few extra minutes in that game, he's someone that could have easily went for 40 DFS points there as well. Again, I really like stacking this team here, guys. The issue is, there isn't really an issue. If you guys want to do that, you can certainly do that. Keontae George as well, guys. Like, just too many good plays here, guys. We could at least get to Gillespie, George, Kessler, and Markkanen. Let's get into Denver versus Portland here, guys. So Jamal Murray currently questionable. If he ends up sitting, that does kind of change this game a little bit. But Jamal Murray right now priced at under 8K, a player that's just been going off. Even in this game where it was a blowout, guys, 25 minutes, he was still playing a pretty good game DFS-wise. You give him about 10 more minutes, he easily gets to 40, I think, in that game. This is a pretty good matchup against Portland, so I think we want to be targeting them. To me, it's pretty much Jokic and Murray. And then from there, I just don't care too much, honestly. Like, yes, we can mess around GPP wise with Christian Braun, Cameron Johnson, Aaron Gordon. There's no real analysis to that. It's just whoever gets hot, go ahead and throw the dart, try to get it. But then we jump into Portland, guys. So Portland, Sharp is currently questionable. He's expected to play. Scoot Henderson's still out. But Drew Holiday has been very consistent, and you could argue he's still too cheap. This game is projected to stay close, guys. 4.5 point spread. Pretty high game total as well, 238.5 total points. And so if that ends up being true, you would expect Drew Holiday to be part of the reason as to why. So I think he ends up being a pretty good play and probably just the best play for Portland considering his price tag. We could mess around with Sharp if he ends up, he had a weird game, guys. Sharp had a weird game in his last game. Only 24 minutes, 4 fouls, shot the basketball actually better in that game, but they ended up winning. So maybe that was the right move to limit his minutes. And then we jump into the Pelicans versus the Clippers, a game that I don't think we're going to target too much because it's projected to be a pretty massive blowout. And so that just takes a lot of risk on if we do that. But do you want to call it Jeremiah Fears? If he ends up starting in this game again in replace of Jordan Poole, he ends up being one of the better values on the slate as well. Like, him and Gillespie become two very good guard plays that we would use to be able to pay up for studs elsewhere at different positions. But then we would be eating up two guard plays. And I do like Alexander Walker a decent amount. I do like into Reeves and Luka as well. So you're starting to see maybe the issue with that. That's the tough part about this is we're almost getting too many good guards and too many good small forwards. Give them some power forward eligibility, guys. that'd be much appreciated. But we do know that Zion's going to be back in this game, so that should help the game stay close enough for long enough, and we do need that. Clippers, guys, like Kawhi, Harden, GPP plays, obviously, like I don't mind them. They're fine. And so, guys, it is too early to give you guys generated lineups, which is something I typically like to do at the end of a video because I am doing this video the night before. So this is kind of the first look build that I'm looking at. The lineup will definitely change, but it does kind of sum up my thoughts on the slate and just calling out some of the values. Again, we probably are looking at Luka and Reeves. If Luka ends up playing, Reeves becomes a slightly worse play, but they're both still in play. Obviously, we like Reeves much more if Luka sits. That'd be a pay up that we want to get to. I do think Jokic is still a player that we should be paying up for, and then we can get to a little bit of Maxey and Morant. Booker really pops. Siakam we would expect to go off, but we're getting plenty of good value. And again, I do like stacking that Phoenix versus Utah game. All right, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Appreciate you being here. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel. If you guys would like access to any of the tools available at 95sports.com, head on over there, get access to all the tools for a low monthly cost of $10 a month. Appreciate you being here. Good luck, and as always, let's keep cashing.